What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with a little bit of discussion about Anthem. And it really kind of pains me to make this video because, as I said in my prior videos that I made about Anthem, I was really enjoying the game despite its flaws. You know, even though I'm able to admit the game has a lot of really serious problems that BioWare needs to fix immediately, and I was always shocked at how this was supposedly a game that they worked on for 6 years, the way, you know, with the condition that it released in. Well, you know, I was thinking the other day back to E3 when Anthem was first revealed to us, and I wanted to go back and kind of see what they showed us and what they promised us back when the original gameplay trailer was revealed. Now, I want you guys to know something. When BioWare first presented this game at E3, they put up a disclaimer at the very beginning, and it basically said, everything that you're about to see here is in-game footage captured in real time from Anthem. This was what the game was supposed to look like. And when you watch the E3 trailer, which I have playing in the background of this video for the first little bit here, you can immediately tell this looks nothing at all like the game that was released either on PC or console. It's completely different. And you can notice right away from the very start, you know, Fort Tarsis looks alive. The character models look completely different. Everything looks so realistic. The graphics are just so much better. You've got a Strider walking around in the background. People are going from place to place and talking to each other and just having dynamic conversations and other things that are going on. You get this pretty epic suit-up animation here before you head outside to take on your first mission. The interface looks completely different. Oh, there's no loading screens. That's a big thing. The way people drop in and drop out of group looks really really different. It doesn't seem like it's a forced public grouping. It's like your friends can come in and out whenever they want and be dropped right into wherever you are on the map. So this is really disappointing to watch this because it's essentially like BioWare and EA lied to us about what this game was going to be. And I think that's one of the reasons they've been so quiet so far on reaction to what's going on with Anthem. You know, a lot of people on Reddit were wondering why the developers are being so quiet regarding updates to the game. And I think it's really because they're having a lot of trouble figuring out what they're going to do. The damage control is probably going full-time for EA right now. I was reading today that Sony actually is offering full refunds for this game on PlayStation 4. Essentially because there's so many problems with it, and it's actually causing people's PlayStation 4s to crash and shut off completely. And usually it's pretty tough to get a refund from Sony, but the fact that they're just bar none pretty much giving everybody a full refund for this game if they request it is very telling. And I think the game is in a lot of trouble, and I think especially now that a lot of the reviews are coming out, and there's even some that are talking about what I'm talking about today with how the game was presented and what we actually got as a finished product. I think you're going to see a lot of people jumping ship from this game. I mean, even just looking at what's going on in the world, you have so much interaction. You know, you fly out into the world, you see an Ursix fighting against wolves, you see the wildlife running around, you see the Scar using flat cannons against you. The weapons are different. Some of the abilities are different. There's actually a part here where they finish a world event, which is nothing like anything we see in the actual game. There's actually a Strider that walks onto the screen and gets blown up by the Scar, and it's like so dynamic and so immersive. We don't see anything at all like this in Anthem, at least not from anything I've played and seen from other people's gameplay and all the hours people have put into this game. It's pretty amazing to see just the stark difference of what was shown at E3 and claimed to be real game footage in real time, and then to see, you know, what the finished product was. It's pretty unrealistic and just very disappointing. And the other thing too is the way the loot drops. After they finish this world event, there's actually a legendary loot drop that the one player picks up, and it immediately shows that loot drop on screen, what kind of weapon it is, what its weapon stats are. It actually automatically equips that weapon to that person, and it's a weapon that doesn't currently exist within Anthem's arsenal from anything I've seen so far. It's actually called a Volt Rifle, and it's a weapon that has elemental damage, which that's nothing like what we've seen so far in the game. So this just blows my mind how companies are pulling this stuff and they still think they can get away with it. I mean, the last time I remember something like this happened, it was very, very bad. It was actually Gearbox with Colonial Marines, where they did an E3 presentation, said everything was how it was in game, and then the actual game launched, and the content that was shown in the E3 stuff wasn't even in the actual game. The actual game itself was horribly broken and terrible, and nothing at all like what was shown in the E3 trailers that were used to sell a lot of pre-orders. This is back, back in the day when pre-orders were still a pretty big thing. It's not so much now, but the same concept applies. It's just these developers that think they can get away with this, and the publisher shares a lot of the blame too. This is on both EA and it's on Bioware. It's on Bioware for taking 6 years to develop a game that released and is just completely lackluster in just about every fashion. And seeing these differences between what's shown at E3 to be real in-game footage versus what was, presented to us at release of the game, it makes me kind of lose just even any of the little bit of excitement I had for this game. Still just going in and still trying to have fun with it and wanting to give Bioware a chance to fix the game and make it, what it should be. Just seeing the way that they manipulated, gamers once again and lied to us. This is straight up lying. It's showing this, presenting this as real in-game footage and in-game content, and then completely releasing something that doesn't even look the same. Even if you put Anthem on a very high-end PC right now, you're not going to see graphics anywhere near what was shown in that E3 trailer. And again, it's just baffling these companies still try to do this. So I really think that BioWare and EA both have to be taken to task on this. And unfortunately, if Anthem is the last game that BioWare ever makes, if the studio winds up going away because of this, because knowing EA, they're not going to sit here and take a PR disaster very long. Mass Effect Andromeda, when you compare it to Anthem, was 10 times better. I mean, we're talking about a game that, yes, it had a lot of bugs and some problems when it first came out, but you had a ton of content, you had a ton of stuff to do. It was a fully fleshed out game that you could go through and play, and it was basically what they had advertised. And, a lot of the early bugs scared a lot of people off, but at the end of the day, Mass Effect Andromeda was still a game you could go through and play and enjoy and get 60 to 100 hours of content out of easily, with a very good narrative story and everything, and a typical BioWare game for the most part. It wasn't as strong as any of the other Mass Effect games, I think, but I think also a lot of Mass Effect fans were jaded a little bit, and they were expecting, their expectations from the trilogy were, I don't want to say too high, but I think it was going to be hard to live up to anything with the trilogy when Andromeda came out, and I think a lot of Mass Effect fans in general let that kind of ruin them to the game, which I've gone through and replayed it a second time, and it's actually a very, very enjoyable game. And like I said, compared to Anthem, Mass Effect Andromeda is like heads and shoulders above how Anthem released and where Anthem is right now in its present state. So just very, very disappointing, and I hope that more people will see this going on and will, either ask for a refund or will just stop playing the game, because while I want BioWare to have a chance to fix Anthem and give us the game that they should have, there's no excuse for this, and I just hate it when publishers and developers do this, and they just take advantage of people, and they just milk them for money, and it's like they've all been doing this lately. Bungie with Destiny was a huge example where they cut out content after showing it. And this is just the latest example where these companies, they just do not respect you as a consumer, and they're going to continue to do this until people just in bulk stop buying their games. I mean, the problem with Anthem 2 is it has a very, I don't know if it's a large segment, but it has a segment of the community that is fiercely loyal to BioWare, and they are giving the developer every excuse under the sun for this game, just saying, oh, we expect too much, or we're entitled, our expectations were too high, and they had 6 years, and gaming development takes a lot to do. This is the finished product that we got, and we should be happy with it and let them fix it. That's complete hogwash. Anthem is an absolute disaster of a launch for both EA and for both BioWare, and unfortunately, it may be the end of BioWare, because I don't think the sales for this game were very good, and I think this may be it, because I don't think EA is going to tolerate another, what would largely be considered a critical failure for another BioWare studio. So anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I kind of wanted to just go over some of the major differences we saw and how the game was advertised and initially packaged to be sold to us, and what we actually wound up with at the very end of it. So let me know what you guys think about this. If you've gone through and watched the E3 trailer, just let me know what you think in general and how you feel about, you know, BioWare and EA doing this to its consumers. You know, just like I said, it's very disappointing. It reminds me so much of Gearbox and what they did with Colonial Marines and all the deceit and everything that went on behind the scenes. And I think what was going to happen is we're eventually going to get one of those like major reveals about all the development hell that, you know, Anthem went through, and how EA and BioWare had completely different visions for the game, and they started working on one game, which is probably what we saw in the E3 footage, and then they completely gutted it and started all over with different assets and just changed everything about the game. So like I said, just very disappointed to go through and watch this, and you know, I had a lot of hope for this game, even though it released in such a bad state, and now I'm kind of just like, well, you know what, if the game dies, it kind of deserves it. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. And like I said, if you haven't picked up Anthem yet, I would not. I would just hold off and wait for now. It's not really worth picking up now, especially for a full price $60 title. It's just not worth it. Anyways, guys, thanks as always for watching. Hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you again next time.